Welcome to Always Moving Forward with Renee.
Moving forward.
Good morning and welcome to Always Moving Forward with Renee. As you know, I have my friends with me, Jackie next to me, and Lenore on the other end. And today is the day that the Lord has made. Rejoice and be glad in it. I'm Renee Ross Bowers, and again, welcome. Now, you know, it is wise to work and plan ahead for the future. Don't get caught unaware because you fail to plan ahead. So we always want to search out and get a little help sometime. And the gentleman that I have here today, he comes with a wealth of knowledge. His name is Terance Bowers, better known as TJ. He is the son of Terance Bowers Sr. and Marcina Mills Bowers, nephew of Kevin Bowers, grandson of Daryl M. Bowers and France Bowers. And you know the name France Bowers, that's my husband. So what does that mean? He is my grandson too, all right? He was born in Detroit and raised in Metro Detroit. TJ is a graduate of Berkeley High School, class of 2014, and also a graduate of Albion College, class of 2018, with a social psychology degree. Currently, he is a real estate consultant with Bowers Realty and Investments, which has been servicing the metropolitan Detroit area for over 53 years. So that tells you he does come with a wealth of knowledge. He was born into real estate. See what I'm saying? He was born into real estate. His grandmother is the CEO of Bowers Realty. His grandfather is a broker. His dad was in mortgages. His uncle was a real estate consultant. And I am a real estate consultant sometimes. Sometimes. Okay, but I'm going to give you none other than TJ. But TJ, you know, I have a question for you. What are your feelings about the real estate market today?
Well, the real estate market today, I personally have seen everybody is moving towards Detroit, back to Detroit again.
Oh, okay.
With the recent renovations that Dan Gilbert has been doing within Midtown as well as downtown,
Okay.
you see constantly the influx of people going back in Detroit from suburban areas, because that's where all the businesses as well as restaurants and all the renovations are going towards. So therefore, Dan Gilbert is slowly moving towards the riverfront as well. Mm-hmm. So the prime real estate is going to be within downtown, midtown, and along that riverfront as well.
Okay, so you heard what he said, where the prime real estate is going to be. Now, with that being prime real estate, we're talking about them prices going up.
Oh,
Am I correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It's going to be appreciating within Detroit, with pretty much within Midtown, downtown, riverfront, slowly moving to the east side as well. And so, if you're currently living within Detroit right now, what I would recommend on doing is sitting on your property, and wait until that property value appreciates, because all of those different businesses are going to bring in other businesses, are going to bring in more people, and those other like condos that are now being sold around 250, 300, sometimes 400,000. What that's going to do is it's going to appreciate the value of your property as well.
Okay.
So instead of, you know, selling it for right now, or let's say twice as much as you bought it for, you can literally wait and potentially sell it for 4 times.
Okay, so if you could sit on that property, Jackie, you got any property in that area?
No, I'm in Russell Woods.
Okay, she's in Russell Woods. I don't have any property in that area either. But I remember growing up as a child, we lived in that area. And they always came through talking about keep your property because they're going to come through and they're going to buy it and your property is going to be worth, you know, X amount of dollars.
Right.
And my parents tried to hold on to their property, but it never came. But you know what? I'm glad it's finally here. And now the property's gone, house torn down, and we're somewhere else.
But that's been the whole thing, you know, because Mayor Young said hold on to your property. But you hold on to your property and then what the government do, come raise them taxes, come with all type of plans to take your money. And then people didn't know how to go down there and fight for the assessments of the property so the taxes wouldn't be high. And then they still, you know, they got this committee that look at it. And I went before the committee for my mama's property. He said, why are you giving me pictures of my neighbor's house, of the neighbor's house? Because it's vacant. It's torn down. I said, even if I assess my property, my mama's house, you got roofing, but I can't take a picture of the roof, you know, because you can't see that side where, and other things. And I say, you know what, this is crap. Because all you're doing is trying to find a way to deny me to drop her property taxes.
Okay, but you know, like TJ said, if you have some property in that area, if you can hold on to it, please do. Okay?
I did. They sent me a letter wanting to buy my house for $200,000.
Really?
Now that jumped up.
Wow,
Super.
wow. Okay. I know you got a question that you'd like to ask, right?
I did, but.
Lenore, I know you have a question.
Okay, I do. Oh, just.
Lenore, I know you have a question.
Speaking of the property values appreciating, what about like the inner city? What about other areas of Detroit?
Well, within the inner city as well, it's going to slowly improve. Like along 8 Mile in particular, you're going to see a lot of renovations slowly move towards that area as well. Also suburban, like right outside of Detroit. So we're talking about Southfield, we're talking about Berkeley, we're talking about Oak
Warren.
Park. You're like, yeah, Warren as well. So what happens is when a huge city like Detroit, Detroit has been dormant for so long that once you appreciate the values of Detroit, you appreciate everything that's around Detroit, immediately around. So I'm thinking this, but I'm seeing different renovations even around where my mom lives, over in Lathrop Village, along Southfield Road and 11 Mile. You start seeing a lot of renovations in that strip. A lot of different restaurants being built, a lot of different commercial properties being built, but they're also doing it on 10 Mile. You're slowly seeing more condos being built, Royal Oak as well. Like you see all these different places around Detroit also appreciating, like immediately around. Now, in regards to that, what happens is it kind of kicks out the people that already been living there for so long. So what has happened is this aggressive gentrification of Detroit has been detrimental to a lot of people who have been living in Detroit for 40, 50 years. So the tenants that were, living in these buildings, are being kicked out, ultimately because they're being bought out by investors. So what they're doing is they're going straight to the landlords and then buying them out, above, the tenants, not necessarily caring about what the tenants actually feel, what their position is, what their situation is. So constantly I've been called at the office with multiple stories of families that are being kicked to the curb, during the holiday season, especially trying to find a place in which to live, in the next month or so.
Yeah.
And some of these, some of these stories, like one in particular, I had a grandmother of 4 children who her daughter was living with her at the time, in which they were getting kicked out of their property, and they needed to find a place to go immediately. And a lot of people are in really bad economic standing because they haven't learned how to, like, one, build their revenue, as well as build the credit too.
Right, right.
And so that's a constant hurdle in which a lot of buyers now are facing. Because now, and even in the renting market too, and even leasing,
Yes, yes.
you have a credit check, you have a credit background
yes.
check. So this fallacy that people think that, renting, you don't need to have, necessarily good credit, is false now. Everybody has access to credit, everybody has access to backgrounds, everybody has access to the evictions that you once had prior. So it's not only within getting a mortgage in which your credit it involves the leasing part too. And so
Now, I travel, okay, but this is nothing new. This is what they did in Savannah. This is what they did in Florida, okay? This is what they did in Miami. This is what they did in the Key West. You got the rich people that come in, buy the property. Now, most of the people, black folks or senior people who own they were renting, because when they was coming and they started investing into their little business, that's what they did, they rent. And so when they buy the property, then the owner said, okay, we're gonna raise the rent up sky high, so you're gonna have to move or you're gonna cough up the rent. And by them not being used to such high rent,
Right.
they move. So their businesses start losing, but they bring people in that's gonna pay that high rent.
right.
And so, but when you're talking about people not knowing how to save money, say they don't have no money to save. Because if you're talking about people who worked a long time ago, if you're looking for pension, that's not nothing,
Right.
okay?
Right.
And then some of them probably don't even get money because they was doing those odd jobs.
Well, we know that people, a lot of people live day to day.
Right.
Or paycheck
Paycheck
to
to
paycheck. Because it's a saying, you're just 2 paychecks away from being homeless.
Right.
And TJ just told us that. But TJ, when investors or buyers come in to purchase these rental properties or apartment buildings, instead of, like putting people out, do they give them like a little stipend or something?
Not necessarily. In all honesty, investors, what they're concerned with is their profits. So they're concerned with, investments. So therefore, it takes more time to, I guess, educate the people within those certain properties, and get them to a certain point in which they can afford that, than to just raise the level of rent, and just be like, if you don't pay this by this month, then you're going to be looking for another place soon. So what a lot of landlords are subjected to doing, and this is not the landlord's fault totally, because they're looking to make money as well.
Right.
But the quickest way to make money is to honestly kick these people out, hence raising the rent to the point where they know that they can't
Yeah, like
pay
you
it.
just said.
And then selling the whole building all together.
If they're gonna do that, they can't just kick them out at a moment's notice, can they?
No. They can
gotta
give them
some
30
time.
days or 60 days or something. But at the same time, think about trying to find another place to live in a rental market in which your credit's already bad and you can't even get into another place.
And you're a grandmother with 4 children, like you
Yes,
said.
yes,
A lot of people don't want to rent
right.
to people who
Right.
have a lot of kids.
Absolutely.
Okay?
And also, it's getting to the point where they're kind of stuck in between a rock and a hard place, per se. It's like, I'm about to get kicked out. I got to find another place to live. But at the same time, my credit is not where it needs to be for me to own something. So therefore, if their credit's not, good enough to own something, you sure well know that, the renting market being the way that it is now, they're not even going to qualify to rent in a whole bunch of these different properties, because that's what landlords are looking for. They're looking for the same backgrounds that these mortgage companies are looking for as well.
Yeah.
And if you have like a sketchy past, maybe some delinquencies, or maybe you got evicted once or like years ago,
That'll be on there too? If you
that'll
got
be on there.
years ago?
Yes, all of that information is now like being brought to light in every aspect of real
Public
estate.
knowledge now.
Now, what about bankruptcies then? Can they use bankruptcies?
Yes, I mean every single. It honestly depends on which type of credit background, but not a lot of, it's every single time that you apply for a lease, you gotta like apply for like, a credit background check. And each specific lease, they have like certain like background checks. It's like, this application costs $35 or $55
I heard
or
about that.
just to get the background check.
Right.
But in order for you to even qualify for, a specific rental property, they say that you have to use their background check specifically. So
Wow.
some people literally pay $35 to $55 to $60 over and over and over again just to be
crazy.
like, no, sorry, you can't get in here.
And then to bring your credit score down.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Wow.
yes.
Mhm.
And so, therefore, like I said, the renting market is actually really, really savage right now, to the point where a lot
terrible.
of people are just paying to get their credit checked over and over again, just to be like, no. And then plus, I'm worried about my kids being in a place to live, but at the same time, I got to build my credit up
Yeah.
to get to the certain point. And plus, I just need somewhere to live within the next month, but I can't even get in there because of my credit.
Right.
And what happens
Wow.
is that a lot of them go to shelters
Yeah.
because you got those rescue missions, and then they will help find you a place,
Mhm.
okay? And they wind up going that way. But
Mhm.
it's still keeping them away from buying a home.
Mhm.
Right. But TJ, what you would suggest that if the credit is not up to par, people need to start working on their credit now.
Oh, right now. That's
TJ, tell them, well, before we go back into the credit, tell them how they can get in touch with you, what company you're with, and your phone number, where you're located.
Well, I'm with Bowers Realty and Investments. We're currently located on 10 Mile in between Southfield Road and Greenfield Road, 17277 West 10 Mile Road. And we're right over there in Southfield, right around the corner from here, actually. So
You
give
see
me a
me
call.
pointed over there.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. Yeah, point over there. So, you can get in contact with me personally at 248-761-7220. That's my personal cell phone number. Or you can call the office at 248-557-1200.
Okay, and say that cell phone number, your personal one again.
Personal is 248-761-7220. And the office is 248-557-1200.
Okay, go back into the credit.
All right, so credit. You have to start, and this is also like become like a economic issue as well as a racial issue as well. So what happens is kids or kids like being upbringing,
Right.
they don't teach us credit within school. They don't have like a business, class, unless you go out your way to take it. It's not required, even though it should be, because everybody is going to have to either buy a home, lease a home. It's literally relevant in everybody's lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is, if you are in a specific environment, like let's say Berkeley, for example, you have people who know credit, right?
Yeah.
So what you learn is from the people around you. It's from your environment, right? So the kids that, let's say, out in West Bloomfield are getting taught credit by their parents, by their predecessors, by their teachers, by literally those who are within that area, because they want them to know about credit. However, on the flip side, when you go into the local economic, areas such as in the inner city, who's going to teach those people about credit? Because, and this is like one of the main things that frustrates me is when people separate the economic from the racial. When people keep on saying that, why do African Americans constantly live in low economic areas? And it's constantly like, work harder, like, stuff like that. I look back and then, like, hence the history, and it comes back. And you guys probably know this especially, but over, like, after the civil rights era, when we're all equal, right? Quote unquote equal, okay? They don't teach us within middle school, within elementary school, within high school, the fact that there was literally laws predicated within the housing market on putting African Americans in low economic statuses and keeping them there. So the loans that they could get, they weren't able to get because of their skin tone. Even though we are no different than any other race, like literally it's just a pigmentation on our skin. However, though, it's so easy to literally be like, since you're different, you're lesser than me. This is one of the smartest things that people at the top wanted to do. It's the fact that once you don't know your history, and you don't know why you are in low economic standing, then you think to yourself that you are lesser of an individual because of your skin tone. Because of where you live and everything as well. However, though, what needs to happen is everybody needs to learn credit, like literally from the start, from high school.
Yes.
Like it needs to be within schools. And people need to learn about their history to know why they are living in this area instead of living in the hills. Like it's not a surprise that those who are living around libraries, more libraries, less violence, as well as museums and better. I'm not trying to say better, more
Culture.
yeah, yes, exactly. Cultural environment are better prepared to do stuff like better prepare for credit, better prepared for finances, better prepared to be in like different like investments, like knowing like what assets are and everything too, because they are put in that environment. However, those in low economic standing, they're literally like more prone to violence only because somebody's worrying about getting like putting food on the table and not having that access to that jobs, those jobs and stuff. So when people separate economic and racial, it literally frustrates me to a T because they are both synonymous. They're both one and the same because of the history of our country. When they don't want to talk about that, they just literally like in the colorblind society, like, we're all the same now, so why aren't you guys, attaining the same level of success as we are? It's because literally when your grandparents were able to get mortgages, mine weren't.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, we did not have access to that. And generational wealth has a huge factor on this. And that's the reason why a lot of low economic neighborhoods, minorities, both Hispanic as well as African Americans, they're a lot less knowledgeable about the credit process because of our history.
Wow, well, you said a mouthful there. And Jackie is our history buff here, and I see she has something to say.
Well, Elizabeth Warren got a nice speech out on this and how America set up for white people to succeed and for black people to fail. So even with the knowledge of that, you still have the problem because you still have to deal with those people that are on the level that you deal with at the bank and the bank or whoever else that's at that level that you got to go to for the loan. So sometimes even knowing that, we're still in a pickle, okay? We still don't get what's rightfully ours because they're still going to deny us because it was set in motion for them to deny us for whatever reason they want to come up with. And as I've gotten older, people give you credit when they want to give you credit, regardless of your credit score. But I'm saying you should have a good credit score, but they still will give you what they want when they want you to have it. You get a credit loan for a car quick, but when it comes to homes, you don't get it.
Exactly, and that's the big thing about that. With cars, it depreciates value literally right when you drive off the lot.
Right.
When you have a house, you have an asset. That's yours.
Right.
Like, that's your property. That's why people should look more to mortgages, because a lot of times, like, this is a big fallacy too, but a lot of times people think that having a mortgage is more expensive than renting. Not necessarily. Not if your mortgage is like $750 a month and you've been paying rent for $800, $900.
You know what, TJ, let me just say this. This has been so interesting, talking about home buying, renting, but we're going to have him back. We're going to have him back, and we're only 27 minutes. But TJ is coming back to be with us. So I just want to say, if you want to let us know how you like the show, give us a call at 313-657-5556 or email us at wealths111@gmail.com. And as I always say with closing, but before I close, TJ's number, his cell number is 248-761-7220. Again, 248-761-7220. His office number is 248-557-1200. And that's Terance Bowers, better known as TJ. And as I always end the show, God loves you, and so do we. So until next week. You enjoy Always Moving Forward with Renee.
Moving forward.
What's up, everybody? This is your girl, Vicki Winans, and you're watching Bell Global Network.
Hi, everybody. I'm telling you, everything that happened to me that was good, God did it. I'm Evelyn Turrentine, AG, and you're watching the Bell Global Network.
This is Pastor D. Alexander Bullock of Preachers of Detroit, and you're watching the Bell Global Network.
This is Bishop Edgar Van of Second Ebenezer Church in Detroit, Michigan, and you're watching the Bell Global Network.
Hi, I'm Bernadette Stanis. You know me best as Thelma from the TV show Good Times, and you are watching Bell Global Network.
What's up, everybody? This is your girl, Vicki Winans, and you're watching Bell Global Network.
Hi, everybody. I'm telling you, everything that happened to me that was good, God did it. I'm Evelyn Turrentine, AG, and you're watching the Bell Global Network.
This is Pastor D. Alexander Bullock of Preachers of Detroit, and you're watching the Bell Global Network.
This is Bishop Edgar Van of Second Ebenezer Church in Detroit, Michigan, and you're watching the Bell Global Network.
Hi, I'm Bernadette Stanis. You know me best as Thelma from the TV show Good Times, and you are watching Bell Global Network.
Hi, I'm Clifton Davis, and you're watching Bell Global Network.